Good morning. Welcome to our weekly live training. I have a fun little story to share for you today, as well as 3 big shifts that I made that really changed my outlook on snacking, and I hope that they resonate with you and help you make informed decisions. I was a snacking type of girl. I could tell you the best snacks to have. I could tell you where to have them. I could tell you how to make normal things taste better. I would have tips like, ooh, always have like a cup full of like vegetables and nuts in the car and when you're driving on your way home, or ooh, peanut butter and toast. That was a favorite snack of mine. That was one I always used to have between like breakfast and lunch. And not for any other reason other than the fact that, like, who doesn't love peanut butter toast? Like, am I right? I loved these things. And I would go to the grocery stores and I would look for all the snacky little things that I could just eat. I used to love doing things like fruit flavored yogurt and rice cakes with like a little bit of celery on the side. And I had all these little workups and stuff like this. And, at the time I was really convinced that I was doing good work for myself by keeping my metabolism high, because that's what I'd always been told, that you need to have 6 meals a day because you need to keep your metabolism up, because if you don't, you'll go into starvation mode, you'll lose all your muscle, it'll crash, and then you'll gain all your weight back. And I had lived under this belief for a long, long time. But it was when I finally decided to step outside of my comfort zone and do a little bit of research that I started learning these 3 shifts that completely changed my mind about snacking. And if I can stop eating peanut butter toast as a snack, and that was one of my favorites. If I can stop eating that, then there is definitely possibility that what I'm going to be sharing with you today might work for you as well. So if we haven't met before, hi, my name is Vanessa Shears. I work with women to help them find strategies that make them feel good so that they can, fit into their jeans in the morning and wake up feeling confident in their bodies. And that's why I'm here today. I want to share with you some of the things that I teach my clients. So let's get started. I've got 3 big shifts that I made, and they're in all different categories. One was a mindset, one was an emotional, and one was a science-based one. And for me, I am all about science-based things because I have an undergraduate in scientist. I'm a kinesiologist by trade. And I like science. I like textbooks. I like facts. I like things that have research that supports them. If you want to convince me of something, that's the way to do it. So I started reading all of these books. And it all started from back, I love to read. If you don't know that, I love to read. I was reading a book by Gretchen Rubin called Better Than Before. And the book was great. But she kept talking about this other book the whole time, over and over again. And I was curious because when somebody I love recommends something, I'm all in. I just tell me more. How can I be more like you? I love everything you have to say. Tell me more. So this book I got was called Why We Get Fat and What to Do About It. And then that literally read to 20 other books that I've read since then that have all supported this. But there is a hormone called insulin, and it's popping up here and there. I'm seeing more and more people talking about it, but it wasn't until I started understanding what the heck it was. I always thought insulin has to do with diabetes, right? That's all I ever knew about it. I took an undergraduate in science, and that's all I ever learned about it. That had to do with diabetes. And since I don't have diabetes, it never really felt relevant to me. But what I started learning was that insulin is a hormone that is in our body that gets increased in our blood when we eat food, okay? And predominantly it's done by carbohydrates with a little bit by protein. So when we eat food, this hormone insulin goes up. Now insulin's got a job. Its job is to take the food you're eating and store it. And it can store it in liver, it can store it in your muscles, and it can store it in your fat cells, okay? So here's the thing. When insulin is high and working, insulin is a fat storage hormone. You almost want to think of insulin as like a fat fertilizer. It really helps to shuttle food we're eating that we don't need for energy into fat cells. And that's a problem, because if we're walking around with high insulin all the time, how the heck do we ever get to burn body fat? So if we have body fat we want to lose, or you want to feel a little more toned through your arms or your stomach, that means we have to lose body fat. Now, if you've ever thought about what it actually means to lose body fat, you need to be able to burn energy. So we burn energy by doing things like walking, running, thinking, breathing, our heart beating, so many of our systems digesting. So many things in our body require energy, right? So in order to fuel those systems, we need to burn energy. Now here's the thing. how we lose body fat is by the fuel that we use to do all that stuff. It comes from fat. So here's our problem. We eat all day long. So we are constantly having fuel coming in our mouths at all times, which means insulin is high all the time, which means your body is basically thinking, well, why would I go into body fat to get some energy when she just keeps feeding me? And since insulin is high all the time, we can just store some of what she's eating for later, but our body's not smart enough to be like, this is over the top, we still need to burn this. We're not letting our body eat. So what happens is, it looks like this. So this is what happens when we snack. When we have breakfast in the morning, our insulin goes up, right? Because when we eat, insulin goes up. And then it just starts to come down, and we're like, oh, peanut butter toast, because I love peanut butter toast, right? And it starts coming back down. And then we have lunch. And insulin, remember fat fertilizer, the hormone that causes us to store fat, comes down. And then we have a snack. And then it comes down a little, and then it comes dinner. And you see what's happening. Insulin is staying elevated all day, which means that there's no way your body is getting into those fat stores to get that fat off your body if you're trying to slim down and tone up. I was like, oh my gosh. And then what I started to look at was these research graphs that showed people that only ate 3 times a day. Now, I'm not saying cut your calories. I'm saying they ate that same quantity of food in meal 1, 2, and 3 instead of meal, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack, 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 snack. And what happened was the graph looked like this. Breakfast, insulin falls, which means our body's like, uh-oh, we need some fuel. She's not feeding me every 5 minutes. I'm going to go into that nice fat store onto Nessa's legs, and we're going to eat it, and we're going to use it for fuel. And oh my gosh, that's what started happening. And then lunch, and then it dropped again. And on those drops, when I would normally have always been eating, I'm now able to start burning body fat. And that, all that science around the hormone insulin, and honestly, I could talk to you for hours about this because this stuff just is fascinating to me. However, the moral of the story is, when you are eating every 1, 2, and 3 hours, you never let that hormone insulin fall, which means your body is never able to access the fat that's stored on our bodies. If we want to feel leaner, if we want to see more tone in our arms, if we want to drop a couple pounds, that's where it starts. It starts with allowing our body to dine in on the fat that's already stored on our body. Okay, so that was mindset shift. That was shift number 1. I mean, that one there had me, but there's 2 more, and they're just as good. Number 2, I heard this sentence. Snacking is an emotional decision. Snacking is an emotional decision. Now, I really want you to think about this. Think about the last time you had a snack. And all the women I work with, this is the one I hear the most. It's 3 p.m. at the office. There's donuts, samosas, Lindt chocolate, whatever it is, sitting on the office counter. And it's 3 o'clock, and you're getting that energy dip, and you're kind of bored, and maybe your boss was giving you a little bit of a hard time today, and literally the pile of stuff on your desk is like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get through this. I've got so much to do. My kids are doing blah, 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 blah. You know what would make me feel better right now? A snack. And I mean, we don't think that sentence, but that's what's going on subconsciously. We feel discomfort. We feel stress. We feel bored. We feel anxious. We feel lonely. We feel angry. And our experience as humans with food is that emotion dulls the sensation, or food dulls the sensation of emotions. Have you ever noticed that? You ever noticed you've been feeling anxious, bored, lonely? You'll grab a drink, you'll grab some cookies, you'll grab some chips, right? So a lot of the times when we start looking at the snacks that we have, you know, that breakfast to lunch snack, that lunch to dinner snacks, how many of those times are you actually hungry? And how many of those times are you feeling an emotion like boredom or stress that you don't really want to deal with, and you dang well know that eating that office donut, that feels better. And it does, it feels better. It's because you get all those neurotransmitters and the dopamine floods in your brain. It feels really good, and you don't have to feel bored. I struggle with boredom. That's my big one. Like, especially on the days that I work at home, oh my gosh, there is a stretch in the afternoon where it's just like, I'm like, I need a meal. I need something to eat. And then I'm like, I'm not even hungry. It's not meal time. I have enough fuel. Dine in on some body fat. We're going to be fine. So snacking is an emotional decision. Next time you want to reach for a snack, I want you to ask yourself, am I really hungry? And number 2 is What is the emotion I feel right now? How do I feel? Am I neutral or am I a little bored? Am I a little anxious? Am I tired? What's going on for me? All right, so mindset shift number 3. The other reason I find that I used to, and a lot of the clients I work with, snack is because you have this fear of getting hungry. So see if you know what you're talking about on this. So you say you have lunch, and you know that dinner isn't planned for another 4 or 5 hours. So you have a snack around 2:30 because, don't ever get hungry, because do you know what happens if you get hungry? Do you know what they tell us? If you get hungry, then you're going to overeat at your next meal. You're going to throw all your progress out the door. You're going to binge eat, and you're going to end up in a pile of chips at the end of the night, or like a box of donuts. Have you heard that? Like, don't let yourself get too hungry or you'll overeat at the next meal. That's BS. And I just want to call it as it is. That's BS. You do not need to be eating every 2 hours, because that overeat that you're so scared of, that's a choice. We don't have to make that choice. That's the brilliant thing, right? So I want you to think about this. What is the worst thing about being hungry? Like, seriously, I want you to think about it. You're at work, your stomach grumbles. So say you're legitimately hungry and your stomach grumbles, but your next meal is at home and you don't have any healthy options available, but the donuts are sitting there at the office. Think about it, right? Like, what does that feel like? What starts happening? Here's what happens. I've experienced this. My clients experience this. You start going, emergency, hello, we need food right now. This is definitely an emergency. It starts feeling a little panicky. Here is what I've decided, and this belief has served me so well. I want to be the type of woman that can be in that hunger for the hour or 2 it takes for me to get somewhere where I can make a healthy food choice. I'm going to say that again. I want to be the type of woman that can be okay feeling my stomach grumble for an hour until I can make a healthy choice. We think hunger is an emergency. We think our stomach grumbling means it's an immediate need for food, or what? We're going to pass out? Our blood sugar is going to drop? We won't be able to focus? None of that happens. We get so freaked out by one stomach grumble that we just grab whatever's around us. What if you could be the type of person that could be like, yeah, it's not that comfortable. This doesn't happen every day, but I'm going to be just fine until I can get home and have my healthy meal, until I can get to some healthy food. I don't need to eat the crap at work or the crap on the desk just because my stomach growled once and I'm so petrified of what might happen. If I'm hungry for an hour, it's fine. I promise you, you'll be fine. And the only way for you to tell if that works is to try it without fear. Because guess what the worst thing that happens? You get there, you really hate it. The worst thing you happen is you do what you already would have done, which was eat the office donut anyways. You're no better off. But the only thing is you might learn that it's not that big of a deal. So the 3 things, the 3 big mindset shifts that I made, that I don't snack anymore, ever. I have my meals, and that is it. And in between, I am fine because I'm fueling with whole foods. I feel good, and I know that if I get a stomach grumble, I'll be fine. I can dine in. I've got some fuel on my body. So we talked about the hormone insulin. We talked about snacking as an emotional decision. We talked about being the type of person that doesn't freak out because their stomach grumbles, and that we can wait until we can make a healthy choice. So I really hope that has resonated with you. If you find that with these trainings that I'm doing each week, if you love them, don't forget to hit like, share them with someone that might resonate with them, because I really want to grow our community. And if you've been seeing transformation in your life from these trainings that I do every single week, I would love to connect with you one-on-one and talk about how we can make your transformation even better, how we can take it one step further, what working together would look like, and what possibilities we can create for you to reach your health goals. And it starts with just leaving me a comment below and letting me know I'm in, and let's jump on a one-on-one call and talk about what we can do with the possibility of your life. So you guys have an amazing, amazing week, and we'll chat soon.